Welcome. I'm Cheryl Mitchell, the president of Tree11, which is a retreat and learning center here in Addison County. We work on the intersection of spirit, nature, and social justice and have been thrilled to work with Building Bright Futures, Let's Grow Kids, and Middlebury Community Television to get people information about what's going on for the children in our communities. And I am delighted today to have two guests who are going to be talking about a new initiative called Okay, You've Got This. So with me today in the studio are Jen Peterson, who's the campaign manager, and Moira Cook, who's the director of the health department. So welcome to you both. Thanks for taking the time to be here.
Thanks for having us.
So our thought would be maybe to start and just ask you, Moira, to give an overview about where did this project come from, and then maybe Jen will talk to us about its goals.
That's great.
Okay.
That's great. So this project came out of some work we were doing around healthcare reform on the local level. This group called Community Health Action Team is a group focused on healthcare reform and population health outcomes. And we were preparing for a data meeting last December, a year ago, and we were able to get our hands on some new data about kids in Addison County. And it was data from two of our three supervisory unions that indicated that children from 4th grade to 8th grade were showing low resiliency, low optimism, low hope, and high anxiety. It was really concerning.
Yeah.
And this was across sort of the general population. And that data exactly matched the counseling service of Addison County's data, because they were collecting similar data that showed, again, low resiliency and high anxiety. That was also coupled with youth risk behavior data, which is health department data, that said that about a third, more than a third actually, of our kids in Addison County don't feel like they matter to this community.
Wow, that's a huge number.
It's a huge number, and it was just so concerning when we we put all these pieces together, and we knew we just had to address it. So we shared this information at that data meeting a year ago now, and then instantly folks said, we've got to address this. And so we worked, we had multiple meetings, brought folks together through various venues all through the last year. And then we were able in the last couple of months to create this campaign. And it's just been overwhelming, the response. And I think the most interesting thing about the Okay, You've Got This campaign is that it's not really owned by anybody in Addison County. Jen was just saying that to me that, it's now more than 70 organizations that are part of this campaign. And it's just really been phenomenal collaboration.
Yeah. Jen, could you give us some feeling for what what that range of organizations might be like and why they got involved?
Sure. So as Moira mentioned, the schools are all showing up to talk about this, and then there's also the parent-child centers, the early education centers, like the Mary Johnson Children's Center, Otter Creek Children's Center, and others. And did I say the Parent-Child Center already? Yeah, Parent-Child Center, Porter Hospital, Mountain Health Center. So I think all the agencies that are serving families in the area are clearly, it's resonating with them in terms of who they're seeing and what they're seeing present when they're working with.
So it sounds like a huge group of people. How do
very
you
diverse.
manage, how do you do anything? How do you get organized to make a plan for
That's
the
a really
campaign?
good question. So one of the things that we did do this summer was to spend a lot of time trying to get really clear about what it is that we were wanting to do and focus on. And so we came up with the Okay, You've Got This logo, which really is meant to kind of express sort of the chaos that can happen in our lives and everybody's lives, and then what we can do to sort of have everything streamlined and to have the confidence that that you can make it through. You can find the resilience that you need and grow from that.
Before you go further, I know Moira mentioned low resilience, and I'm not sure that everybody's familiar with the term resilience. Could one of you expand on what that is, what it means?
Yeah.
I think we all know anxiety, but resilience, I'm not sure.
It's dealing with the bumps in the road. It's sort of the definition that I can't rattle off right now, but that we use talks about, living in this less than perfect world and coming back from adversity. And so when times get tough, what skills do you have or supports that you have around you to come back and feel whole again? And and that can be anything from, failing a math test to losing a parent, so the range is huge, and everyone experiences the adversity and has moments of anxiety. And so it's helping to foster those coping, those confidence skills, all the skills you need to be a resilient and healthy person.
Cool. So are you guys going to be teaching resilience skills, and if so, how?
Yeah, so one of the things that we did was we decided to kind of hang our hat on the methodology and framework that a doctor who's part of the American Academy of Pediatrics, Dr. Kenneth Ginsburg, has done a lot of work around resiliency, and he has a book called Building Resilience in Children and Teens. And essentially that methodology sort of posits that there's 7 traits that we can cultivate that will help sort of build resiliency among kids. And they're competence, confidence, connection, character, contribution, coping, and control. And so we have put together to start a bunch of handouts for parents, and we have school-based clinicians from the counseling services of Addison County that are doing parent education workshops at the schools. Once we sort of rolled this out to all the organizations that have said they want to be part of it, we're now talking to them about how we can do similar things in their venues and places as well. And we're also, this is on our website that we created. Parents can go on and download them for free. And we're trying to think about ways that we can just put basic, quick information out there, through the Front Porch Forum.
Mm-hmm. So
or through
it sounded like
media.
you were talking about, when you said the parent-child center, you were starting with babies, and how old are you?
We're really kind of going across the lifespan in a lot of ways, because we want to give parents tools, we want to give coaches, educators, anyone who interacts with children, some resources to help, support kids in building their resilience. And then we are targeting, the first parenting group we did was we thought it would be primarily elementary school parents, but then other folks just showed up. So and it was a great opportunity for parents to sort of share their stories and learn from one another. What we found is that a lot of us know a lot about building resilience, and we all have information to share. So we do have resources, we do have some content, and we're going to keep building that on our website, because it's sort of a repository. That's what we're hoping that it becomes, just a rich repository of a lot of information.
So I should say to our audience, the website will come up at the end when
great.
we're done talking.
Yeah,
You
great.
don't have to worry about writing it down right now.
Right.
Okay.
Right. And so I think I've lost track of the question, but I think we're really trying across a lot of age groups, because there are tools and resources out there that we're trying to get in the hands of
even
adults
when we
and
try
kids.
to narrow it down, people show up and say, no, we need to do this for this age group. And, Community College of Vermont is part of the conversation.
Right.
And UVM has reached out. And
Right.
so
Jen, are you getting all these 70 organizations together once a month, or how?
It's been roughly once a month, and they've sort of given us ideas about what could we do. The beautiful thing about this is, and I think one of the reasons why it feels so easily collaborative, is we don't have to create everything for this. Like, there's people that are doing resiliency work out there, and we're happy to say, if it'll help kind of create a saturation point and an awareness building to just put our logo on it, then we'll share the logo, right?
Right,
And
right.
just so everybody's like, oh yeah, that's that campaign, and it just how people have to hear things several times before it kind of sinks in. So we're not. It's a real lack of ownership in the way of like, no, it has to be exactly what we designed it. So we're interested in hearing from anybody that wants to work together on things that they think are helpful in building resiliency, and we can help communicate that or share it out with other organizations. And
So usually when you talk about a campaign, it's often time limited. Are you going whole hog for a year, or what's your plan here?
We thought originally, we'll do something for a year, and now we're already a year into planning and working on this and having conversations and doing things like, over the summer we had a series of brown bag lunches. So we could be doing this indefinitely, because I think the message is really resonating with folks. And as Jen said, people are doing a lot of resiliency work. So on our website, we have a calendar of events. So if folks want to promote their, meditation class, their walks, nature walks, that's helping to build resiliency, and we'd happily help promote those kinds of activities too. So in addition to the parent workshops, and other resources that we're slowly building, there's work that other organizations have been doing forever, and we will happily, help cross promote it through this campaign.
So you had mentioned at the beginning it was sort of sparked by looking at the data for the county and being worried. Do you have plans for tracking the impact?
Oh, absolutely. And so what we've done is we've sliced and diced the data a little bit more. So we've taken the youth risk behavior survey. A health analyst at the health department did this for us. And we looked at sort of the resiliency or protective factors in the youth risk behavior survey and cross-tabbed it with some risky behaviors. And so what we found is if kids have less of those protective factors, they're much more likely to engage in risky behaviors, such as using drugs and alcohol, smoking, not having a plan for themselves after school. And some of the basic protective factors are things like eating dinner as a family. And so one of the campaigns that we've talked about is just promoting eating dinner together. Yeah. Kids who eat dinner with one parent, 4 more times a week, are far more likely to be, to engage in healthier behaviors. So again, people are doing this already.
Right.
And we're just helping.
You're just sort of shining a spotlight.
Yeah,
on it. Exactly.
and helping to package it, helping to promote it, and to encourage folks to continue, because there's a lot of families and a lot of coaches and a lot of educators doing amazing things in this county. And let's congratulate them on the work that they're doing, and we can do this through this campaign.
So one of the things that people are always curious about is why are the two of you doing this? Could you talk about how you came to be head of the health department?
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. The quick history of your
Sure.
life, and then we'll move to Jen.
So I have been in this job for a total of 17 years. No, I've worked for the health department for a total of 17 years. I've been in this job for about 10, so long time doing this work. I took a public health course as an undergraduate student in college. And
was that here at UVM?
In Virginia, at Virginia Tech.
Virginia.
And so I just kind of fell in love with it. And, and I loved the intersection of politics and economics and health outcomes and population health. I mean, there's so much in public health that was really fascinating to me. And so I ended up getting my master's degree, and I've worked at the national level, the state level, but I've spent most of my time at the community level, because this is where the rubber meets the road, and it's just so interesting to me, grassroots organizations and real change happens at the community level.
So what were you doing at the state and national levels?
At the national level, I worked for the National Education Association, and I was doing HIV and teen pregnancy prevention with school districts across the country.
Wow.
It was very cool.
I didn't
Great.
realize you had that background, Moira. That's cool.
Yeah, it was my first job out of grad school working in DC. I mean, it was so
Wow.
exciting. It was very exciting.
Yeah.
And then at the state level, I ran the Vermont's tobacco control program for a while. But my heart was in the community. So it was.
So have you raised a family here in the community?
Yes.
You want to tell us a little bit about that?
Sure. I have 2 kids, both at Mary Hogan, 6th grader and 4th grader, and they are just the best thing I've ever done, really. And then my husband and I own a small business in town, so we keep pretty busy between running a business and carting kids all over the place. So it's great. I love it.
And how about you, Jen? Are you also in public health? What's your background?
No, I actually worked for about 25 years in nonprofit management. So I started off at the Lake Champlain Committee in Burlington right out of college. I came here I didn't go to school in Vermont, college in Vermont. I came here right after, and then.
Where did you go to school?
Denison University out in Ohio.
Yeah, my brother went there.
Oh, really? Yeah, that's great. Yeah, I got a sociology and anthropology degree, so was always sort of interested in how we work together as a community and develop our ideals as well as our systems and take care of each other. And then got a job at Planned Parenthood, and I worked there for 13 years doing development
The
for
one
them.
here in Addison
Planned
County?
Parenthood.
Or
No,
the
it was
state?
Planned Parenthood of Northern New England, the administrative offices. So I started off in their grants program and became the annual fund director. And so that was 3 states, and I realized I was very knowledgeable about reproductive health in northern New England and not very knowledgeable in a way that I felt called to know about everything in Vermont. So when the job at the Vermont Community Foundation came open in 2007, I jumped on that. And also, again, sort of my passion for community and connection saw a home there in terms of just seeing how things fit together across a broad spectrum of nonprofits. So I love that. I worked there for 10 years, but along the way started practicing yoga about 10 years ago and really fell in love with it and became a certified teacher in 2015, and I felt really called to do that. So I left the Community Foundation about 1.5 years ago to devote as much time as I can to that.
Wow, that's kind of a scary thing.
Oh,
What helped
yes,
you to
yeah.
do that?
A big career shift at 50. Yes, it was. And is, but I love it. And it's been great. And it sort of is how I landed here a little bit. Cheryl Huntley from Counseling Services out of Addison County, who had sort of crossed paths with a couple of times, called me up and said, we have this project that we're thinking about, and it's about building resiliency, and here's the data. And I went and would you be interested? And I said, okay, well, I'll come and talk to you about it. And we sat down, and again, it was really sort of the level of collaboration that she described with the group that had come together. I've seen a lot of nonprofits in my work with the Community Foundation, and it just was really impressive. And resilience is really important to me. One of the reasons I feel called to share yoga is I feel like it's a really incredible tool for helping to build resilience, that connection that we can find with our whole self, our mind and our body and our spirit. Is powerful, and I was a big part of my resilience as I have moved through my trajectory of life, which has included having kids, which has included a marriage and then a marriage ending and a jump off the cliff into a whole new career. And I turned to that as my home for sort of staying really grounded and feeling like I've got this, and I can
So
take the next
when you
step.
look at, you went through a list of things, and they all started with C for building
Yeah.
resilience.
Yeah,
and there's
yeah.
some that jumped out particularly for you to really help you with your resilience?
Well, again, I just to build on that last sort of, sharing of my personal life, for me, a lot of it is connection, is to feel like I'm part of something, and that I make a difference, and that I feel like people in the community feel like I make a difference too. Like that feels really important to me. So part of that is contribution too, which is another one of the C's. Is I feel my sense of wellness and wholeness. Part of that is giving back and feeling like I'm helping keep the community that I'm part of healthy.
Cool. And you were sort of saying the same thing, that there's a power in being part of
something
really
bigger.
Part of something bigger.
Yeah. And I think that's probably why there are 70 organizations helping with this, because everybody has a bit in this to help raise the healthiest kids in our community that we possibly can. So I think for me, it's those are the two C's: the connection and the contribution, and that's where we're seeing in some of the data that the kids just aren't feeling as connected as we want them to, and that's too bad, because this is a lovely place to grow up, and so I think we have the tools in place to make that data look better, and more importantly, have the kids
for the kids feel better.
For the kids to feel better.
So you talked about, I think, about anxiety. The 4 things that were most striking to you were low resiliency, high anxiety, and now I'm forgetting the other 2 things.
Low hope and optimism.
Low hope and optimism. So could the 2 of you address a little bit how this project will help with that?
Well, I think if we help kids build up these 7 C's, kids and adults, understanding that you do matter to your community, and that you have gifts to give, for example, in terms of those 2 C's, the confidence. Confidence is tough. It can be tough for a lot of kids. So I think we can. I'm really optimistic about our ability to turn the curve on this.
Yeah.
I think they're really easy things that we can share with parents to think about in terms of how they're living with their kids through life, in terms of sometimes you let them fall down so they learn how to pick themselves up, right? I think, if I think about my parents and how they raised me, it was sort of a lot of hands-off stuff and maybe not enough support, or that's arguable, but then I think we've had a shift in terms of the parent community that I've been part of, and this sort of tendency to overmanage, right? And so kids don't get a chance to sort of make mistakes and understand that it's okay to make mistakes. And I mean, there's people who
how
up in
are
all
you creating a structure so that if kids do make mistakes, so that they can learn from the mistakes, it's not disastrous for them?
Right.
I think we're giving parents a lot of tools. For me, one of the things that resonated with me in this book is really praising the process and not the product. Just a simple thing to say, hey, I'm proud of you already. When I think about my kids who are doing various sports and auditioning for music events, it's like, you've worked hard. You've already put in the effort. Praise the effort. That really resonated with me, instead of whether or not you got an A or a C. So it's that sort of thing. Just helping parents and all of us work through, what is it that we want for our kids? Because I think of childhood as a time to fail. And
in a safe way.
Yeah. I think there's a lot in this book, and a lot that the school-based clinicians who are helping us kind of evolve this curriculum for parent education are thinking about those ways in which you can be really clear about what the boundaries are in terms of, like, what you need to do to keep your child safe, but that within that space you support the children in making the mistakes, as you said, and how can they learn from the mistakes that they made. Okay, so you've made this mistake and you've gotten yourself in trouble with school, or you know, a friend, and, you know, so what do you think would help you kind of get to a better place in this? And whether it's a conversation or some sort of act of contrition or, you know, that sort of thing. So it's giving those sorts of tools to like make sure, you know, obviously we need to make sure that they're safe and it isn't disastrous, but also it'll still be disastrous if they become adults and their parents aren't there anymore to take care of them.
Yeah.
Obviously I'm talking about one spectrum of families and children, and then there's a whole other spectrum of, you know, kids who have a lot of resiliency challenges because of the toxic stress of poverty or traumatic experiences in their life, and those are different tools that we need to work with the kids and the parents on as well. And
so we're going to run out of time, unfortunately. Are there things that you would like to talk about that I haven't asked yet?
We would love for everyone to go to the website that will be up on the screen at the end, and just and to be in touch with us if you're doing the work on resilience, and let us know, you know, like what events you're already doing and how we can partner with you.
Yeah,
sounds great.
I would say also keep an eye out for your local Front Porch Forum and for posters and and you can check out our Facebook and like our Facebook page, because we definitely have things that are going to be happening that we want to make sure people know about and can take part in.
Oh, well, I have to say it's really fun to see the two of you working together.
It's really
You're women
fun.
that I've admired in different
thank you.
contexts
Thank
for
you.
many,
Thank
many
you.
years. I
Yeah.
feel like we're very lucky in this community.
Well,
Have such
We are.
dedication.
Moira was another one of the reasons that I said, okay, I'll do this.
So in a moment, you'll be able to see the contact information for both Moira and for Jen, as well as the website. And before we end, I'd also like to thank the Middlebury Community Television Station. They do an incredible job. If you happen to be watching this and you have a message that you'd like to get out to people, give them a call. If you've never been in a TV station before, they'll do everything. They'll teach you how to do it. They're great to work with. So thanks for watching us.